Good evening. We are on the evening of St. Patrick's Day 2023, and I just wanted to do a quick walk around the garden to see what we got going on right now. So it's Friday evening, so I have all the work that's been put in was put in last week, and then on Monday my husband did some more work. So if you remember, we had a conundrum with our sprinklers. They weren't popping up all the way, and they weren't rotated the way that they were supposed to be. And this middle section here for the last 2 years was really dry. Most of these beds from here all the way to there, and then the ones in the front, and then also these beds starting from here down through here were very, very dry all the way back to this one. And so I'd ordered a couple sprinklers, which I set up. There's a sprinkler there and a sprinkler there, and I bought a couple hoses, and I was going to do 2 on each side, and that would cover my whole garden. Well, as soon as I did that and put those in, my husband decided that he had time and was going to make time during the day that he had off to take care of business to try to correct the sprinklers in the garden, because he said that they would and should be able to cover this entire area for the amount of sprinkler heads that we had. So what he did was he took them all and raised them up to about 4 feet, and he put these heads, these new heads on them to where they will rotate. So instead of shooting all out at one side, they would shoot farther and cover more area and then just rotate around. So now all my sprinkler heads are up high, so they're not spraying hard on my plants down at the the median foot level, and they are covering everything. So I still think this sprinkler head here, now it comes up and it's spraying right. It's spraying these beds back here. So pretty much I think everything is getting sprayed now. So that is awesome, because that means we can freely plant in all the beds and not have to worry about having to come in here and do extra water on extra beds to or lose crops. Like last year I lost my corn crop, and my winter squash did very not good, because I couldn't get enough water to them. Once it heated up, it got real hot. So in this bed right here, so I already have them getting the pickle worms, soldier worms, whatever you want to call them, little tiny cut worms, are already coming in here and eating my tomatoes like they've been doing. But they've cut off a few of my plants, and I've already had to replace basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the plants that I planted in here. And I just planted some smaller ones that I wanted to get my determinants in here. So I did plant some sunflower right here. And then what I did is all along the front, all those little ones in the front are the basil that we started in the little strawberry container. And so these that were in here from the start are getting bigger. We're supposed to have rain all weekend, so they'll get a lot bigger. And then back here, I just popped in a couple of Dixie Reds. Maybe they'll make it. They're kind of small. And then I have a couple of basil on the other side. And I still have my leaf lettuce right there. And then right here, I popped in a couple of the red snapper. And then you can see the basil is starting to get bigger, because it was like real tiny when I put it in here, like the size of these tomato plants last week. But you can see those stupid pickle worms are already eating it. And this one right here got cut off by a cutworm, but this was a volunteer, and that was growing in this potato bed right here that I dug up and put right here where that one got cut off. And then on this side, I went in with my Merlot lettuce and sprinkled that in, and you can see it down there. See the little red sprinkled? You can't really see it as much as you can green lettuce starts, but I'll have that free Merlot lettuce seed growing in here. in front of these on this side, because what this will do is these will grow up and they will shade on this side the way the sun tracks more on the other side, and they'll shade this lettuce once it start getting hotter, but the basil will be in full sun on this side. So that's the method to my madness about having so I plant the lettuce on this side on this row. And my potatoes are getting bigger, and still I haven't done anything with this bed yet. This one did get dug up some, and my husband was changing out the sprinkler on Monday, but these have gotten quite a bit bigger. And I did the same thing with the basil. See how big that basil is already. Planted basil in there, and then I planted a few flowers. I think this is a sage that I started from seed, and I have to go back and replant the basil that was right here that I planted in front of these, because it got disturbed. These three got disturbed right here from the sprinkler. But the onions are still growing, still nothing, and these two are still, all these three down there are the same. But here I planted my winter squash bed. So this is where the volunteer Mexican sunflowers were growing, and I dug them up, and I kept all but that one. I left that one there. I planted one right there, and then I planted 5 out of my landscape, and I have 4 more that I've got to plant that I've got in water right now. But so far, first go around with the winter squash, I've got pumpkins down on this end. We planted the pink pumpkins that we got from the pumpkin patch, and we also planted a really orange, meaty pumpkin, a flat one that we got from the pumpkin, or not, it was like a really almost red, like a curry squash red, but it was a flat, meaty pumpkin. So that's what those 4 are, pumpkins. And then right here is my spaghetti squash. These 4 here, I believe all these are, oh yeah, spaghetti squash. There's these 2 back here are the Waltham butternut. Those 2 right there are spaghetti squash. And then up here, I just planted out the rampicante zucchini. That was the ones we just hauled from Baker Creek that are like they're shaped like a big twirly, almost like a Tahitian squash. But they're a zucchini, and if you leave them on the vine, they become a butternut squash. So you can do them either way. And so that's what I finished planting this bed in. And then I have sunflowers on the end. And then over here with the corn, I planted another. I still got lots of corn. I overplanted corn so much. But I planted this row with corn. So it's got Silver Queen and Peaches and Cream in here. And this is where I usually have my arch trellis. I took that down and took these things out and planted corn here right next to the other corn. So I still got all these corn, and I think a little bit more that I got to find out where I'm going to plant them. I might till a row somewhere else in my yard. But we got that one. That's how they're looking. I went and side dressed all these with cottonseed meal, and they are looking pretty good. And then over here, my beans are just getting bigger. My lettuces and onions. This is what my spaghetti squash are looking like right now. They're getting kind of big. We did get down to 33 degrees night before last, early in the morning, and it scared me to death because I didn't know it was going to get that cold. But because these squash weren't covered up, and I had a lot of babies out on the grow out table, but it didn't affect anything. And all of the water and rain that we got and the fixing of the sprinkler washed on my watermelon. I planted this full of watermelon cantaloupes. It washed all but a couple away. So I'm going to put new black velvet down and restart some of those melons. And then that's my lettuce is looking good right now. I'm starting to get asparagus in my beds. I ate a huge asparagus the other day out of there. It was so good. And then right here is some more corn I got to plant. And these are my dwarf patty pans. And then I've just lifted these up and looked at them. These two that are covered with the row cover, and they are much bigger. I wish I would have just covered them all with a row cover, but I didn't. But these are the yellow squash and the zucchini, so they are much, much bigger. And then over here, we've been pulling out some stuff in this bed. It's bok choy, going to seed. And then we planted our beans. I've got a few more basil left down there that I can go replant over by my tomatoes. But here's what the beans are looking like. Few got disturbed by the sprinkler, but I planted this whole line with the purple potted pole beans from, I believe, True Leaf Market. Either True Leaf Market or Baker Creek. I bought one purple bean from one place and one from the other. But those are the purple poles. And then I went and planted sunflowers there, all the way down. I'm going to plant sunflowers against that wall. Got one in the corner, and I got a couple over here. But my goal is to plant lots and lots and lots of sunflowers all over the property. So, and these ones in the front are the purple bush beans. So we got purple pole beans in the back, purple bush beans in the front, and sunflowers. And so right here, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to plant my tomatillos, my yellow tomatillos in there. So once I'm going to get that amended and get dirt put down. I didn't want to do that last weekend because of the new sprinklers. I was trying to hold back as much as possible. My Swiss chard is getting really, really big. And then right here in this drawer, I had 4 purple tomatillos that came up that survived being transplanted and then being in the greenhouse getting really hot. So I planted the 4 purple ones right here. I'm gonna plant the yellow ones right there. They may cross-pollinate, I don't know, but it don't matter. And I might end up planting some more over here, depending on how many tomatillos I get. But you can see my cucumber right there is starting to look good. And then my peas are still going right here. And then these cucumbers right here are just starting to try to jump a little bit. This guy's trying to head up. And I'll show you my purple ones. And then I'm going to wrap it up because it's almost dark out here. And I've got lots more to do tonight out here before it gets completely dark. So these guys are about to head up out here. There's my peas. So that's all that's new in the garden at the moment for Friday, March 17th. And I will talk to you guys about the garden as soon as more stuff happens in here. Which hopefully this weekend is supposed to rain all weekend, but I still hope that we can make some progress. Alright, talk to you guys later.